Level 4 of the pyramid. This is, talking about level 4 of the pyramid for me is like sitting in a warm bath. I love level 4 of the pyramid. That is my daily passion, and it's fascinating. When you look at level 4, hold on, let me back up a little second. Coming on stage after Greg Frost, talking about level 3, talking about action marketing, now I get to come out and talk to you about level 4 of the pyramid. So marketing, which I would perceive to be as the sexiest level of the pyramid, everybody loves marketing. Now I get to talk to you about operational systems, which I would also perceive to be the least sexy level of the pyramid. Coming on after Greg Frost, there's a little bit of change that's needed. I need your brains to shift just a little bit. Level 4 of the pyramid is different. It's completely different. When you look at the first 3 levels, when you look at essential knowledge, selling, presentation skills, and marketing, those 3 levels of the pyramid are about you, your skills, your abilities. How are you going to drive business? That's the first 3 levels of the pyramid. When you get to level 4, it's a ceiling. Loan officers hit it and they bounce off of it. They can't absorb it and grasp onto it because level 4 of the pyramid, it's not about you anymore. It's about your team. It's about your underwriter. It's about your processor. It's about your appraiser, your title company, your closer, your funder. There's a lot of people that have their hands on every single file that you've got to get to the closing table. And at the end of the day, if any one of them make a mistake, who does the client blame? Yeah. So who's responsible? We are. As mortgage originators, we are responsible no matter who's got the file, no matter who's doing what step in the process. When you look at Greg Frost's action marketing, trying to implement that, he talked about, my business partner Ronnie and I 4 years ago went to a Greg Frost seminar and he talked about action marketing, except he talked about it for 4 hours. So imagine that for 4 hours. How much more information would he have given? If you look at what you just saw from Greg Frost, for me, when I first saw it, my brain turned into mush. How am I ever going to implement that stuff? I mean, let me try and pick one, maybe, but how would I ever get to that level of a system? And that was our barrier. And so 4 years ago, we started trying to implement it, and wow, did we implode. I mean, it was so bad, guys. You know, my best friend in the whole world, he and I are yelling at each other. Our processors are yelling at us. We're yelling at them. I'm yelling at my underwriters. They're yelling at me. Everybody sucks. Can't be my fault. I brought the loan in. It's your fault, because you got to blame somebody. And we started this journey 4 years ago, and I've been in the mortgage business 7 years. So for my first 3 years, you know, I was doing the best I could, but it was really just my 3rd year in the business was really my first year for the 3rd time. I wasn't improving. 4 years ago is when a change happened, and that change, the catalyst to that change was I got a chance to sit in Greg Frost's 4-hour seminar. So the stress over the last 4 years, and that's, folks, this next slide, if there's one thing that I want you to listen to me, it's this next slide. Out of this whole 4 days, my contribution is this next slide, is what is the cost of stress? Over the last 4 years, I really need you to absorb, are we in a low stress job or a high stress job? High stress job, oh my goodness gracious. And what's causing the stress? To me, the stress is, it's not me. I'm a good guy, I can drive loans in. That's not the stress. It's what happens when I have to let go of the file, right? Aren't we all kind of control freaks? Don't we all kind of micromanage? And yeah, we micromanage the file, and as soon as you micromanage the file, how many files can you close a month? Which came first, the chicken or the egg? But the cost of that stress, the cost of that micromanagement. So the last 4 years, I want to show you what I mean by cost of stress. Would everybody agree that that's kind of what I look like today? That's a reasonable photograph. Here's what I looked like 2 years ago. Here's what I looked like 4 years ago. For God's sakes, don't follow my footsteps. Do you really want this to happen to you? I hope not. I hope not. Oh God, I gotta get that off the screen. That just depresses me. Okay, I'm over it. So what is your system? What are you doing every day? And this photograph to me is the average loan officer's system. What is your unique selling proposition? You know what I hear most loan officers saying? I'm always accessible. Call me, I'm always accessible. I see loan officers, while this session is on, out in the hallway on their crackberries. Right? Doing deals. I could be in here learning, or I could be out there doing a deal. It's a deal, so I better be out there doing a deal, because I'm always accessible. Wow. Wow, is that setting yourself up for sabotage? Would you rather be known as always accessible or worth waiting for? Yeah, now, okay, now. And I know you can't be that way, but if you could, what would that look like? It's amazing if you ask that question enough times and you make it a habit in your life. I know I can't do that, but if I could, what would that look like? So getting out of this mode, getting out of this always accessible. I had a top producing realtor and his partner, two top producing realtors, came to one of our seminars once and wanted to talk to me right after the seminar, but I was booked with somebody else. So I said, guys, I can't talk to you right now. And so they left. And then I came out of my meeting about 45 minutes later, and I called them, and they said, well, what are you doing for lunch? I said, actually, I don't have lunch plans, so come on back and we'll go for lunch if you want. They said, we'll be right in. I said, what do you mean you'll be right in? Where are you? I said, oh, we're in our car. We waited for you in the parking lot. Realtors waited for me for 45 minutes in their car in the parking lot. Wow, wasn't that a change? Now, I'd love to tell you that that's normal, but I ran around the office doing high fives, and it was a good moment. You have realtors waiting for you in the car. It's like, wow, this is a defining moment. This stuff really works. So, not having a system, how does this affect individual loan officers, managers, process, support staff? How much money does this cost you? Let's try and quantify this in dollars. By micromanaging your files as an originator. As a manager, allowing your loan officers to micromanage their files. How many times have you seen managers with loan officers that are running the company instead of the manager running the company? The tail wagging the dog. Processors, what is their comfort level and their trust in the loan officers just taking a complete loan application? Talk to wholesale reps, wholesale account executives about their number one frustration with loan officers. We can't take a complete loan application. That's their number one frustration. So now imagine an incomplete loan application coming through your system and the stress that causes and the lack of trust that causes. So how does this affect? How much money does this cost you and your team? To me, high stress also equals a lack of confidence. So if I'm going to go out and talk to real estate agents, financial planners, accountants, attorneys, insurance agents, and I walk in, and Tony Robbins did last night. I walk in saying, hey, I'll do a good job for you. I've got great service. I've got great service. But my team behind me, they suck, but I've got great service. Right? How many times are you going to have a file blow up on you until your confidence just isn't there anymore? And do you think that your real estate agents, financial planners, accountants, attorneys, insurance agents, and other strategic partners, do you think they can feel that from you as you're talking to them? Do you think your clients can feel that from you as you're talking to them? That you don't have that confidence that the file is going to close on time with no stress? They can feel it from you. You may think you're hiding it, but you're not. They can feel it from you. So let's talk about a system, an example of a system. McDonald's to me is a great example of a system. When you walk into a McDonald's and you ask for a cheeseburger, what's the next question they ask? Would you like fries with that? If you're in Las Vegas or Minneapolis, doesn't matter. Next question they're going to ask is, would you like fries with that? I have the utmost confidence that that's about to happen to me. And I'm okay with that. I'm now accustomed to having that decision ahead of time, as most of us are. So people don't go to McDonald's because McDonald's has good food. Would you agree? I would never go to McDonald's with the assumption I'm going to get good food. I go to McDonald's, well actually I don't anymore, thank God, but people go to McDonald's because they know what they're going to get. Understand that. You go to McDonald's because you know what you're going to get because it's the same thing over and over. Your strategic partners, if they refer a client to you, do they know what they're going to get? Is there a consistency? Or are you winging it? Are you doing the best you can on every loan? Or is there an absolute non-negotiable consistency on every single loan? And that's a big part of my passion. And if McDonald's can create a system for children, and let's really understand that that's what that is. When you look at who's running the largest, most successful restaurant franchise company in the world, it's children. Walk into a McDonald's, who are you talking to behind the counter? These are kids whose parents can't get them to clean up their bedrooms. But they're running this massive conglomerate. Why? Because there's a system. It's quantified. It's scalable. You can replicate it, you can teach it, you can hold people accountable to it. It fascinates me that as an industry, we are systemless for the most part. For the most part. So have you created clear role definitions? Do you have written job descriptions for your processor? Have you even met your underwriter? I'm always fascinated how many loan officers I talk to who have a favorite underwriter who they've never met. Think about relationships going deep instead of wide. Right? How have you never met your underwriter? If you don't have written job descriptions for your appraiser, for your title closer, written job descriptions, what are your expectations on every single loan? Now I'm saying this to you and saying, oh my goodness gracious, I have to create written job descriptions for all these people? No, they're already created. They're on Loan Toolbox and just download them. But implement them. So I'm going to use this as an example of somebody so that you can put this into perspective for you. So what does this mean to you? So you walking into a real estate agent's office is the same as an appraiser walking into your office. Okay, so you walk into a realtor's office and you're saying, hey, I'm a great loan officer, I got great service, I got great rates, I got this, that, and the other thing. Send me a client and I'll do a great job. Right? What is an appraiser doing walking into your office? Hey, I cover this area, this is what I charge for an appraisal. Send me a client, I'll do a great job. I know you got your favorite appraiser, but I'd like to be your number 2 appraiser. Right? It's the same cycle. It's a food chain. Okay? So what if I could tell you right now that if I were to switch careers, right now on stage in front of you, I'm going to switch careers, I'm going to be an appraiser, and I could get all of your appraisal business in one visit right now in 2 minutes, and you will send me every appraisal that you're ever going to order for the rest of your career in 2 minutes. And if you could replicate that to real estate agents, would that be of value to you? Let's give it a shot. So as a mortgage originator, me an appraiser, and I'm going to assume that I got a meeting with you and I'm in having coffee with you. I want to help you understand that why people do business with me is that it's not about me. I'm just a simple appraiser. Why mortgage originators choose me to do their appraisals is because of my system. Let me explain to you how my system works. When I walk up to a house, when you order an appraisal for me, and I walk up to the house, I'm going to be dressed in a uniform. I'm going to be in khaki pants and a company golf shirt, and if it's cold out, I'll have a company logo on my jacket. Because what I've learned is that when I go to the home to do an appraisal, typically it's the woman of the house that's going to open the door, and I want her to feel comfortable that I'm expected and that she knows who I am. Because I don't want her to be uncomfortable opening the door for me. So that's step 1. Step 2 is when I go into the home, I'm not going to ask if I should take off my shoes. I will immediately take off my shoes out of respect for the home. Step 3, the homeowner is going to try and, let's say, bribe me to try and beef up the value of the house, not realizing that that's probably not going to work, but they're going to ask me if I want cookies or coffee or, niceties. And in Minnesota, it's really important that you do that. That whole Minnesota nice thing is real. They take it very seriously there. So most appraisers in that moment would not want to put that homeowner to work or create a bother. But I understand that they've just extended to me hospitality, and me turning that down is somewhat insulting. So I'm going to graciously accept that hospitality. I'm going to have the cookie, and I'll have the cup of coffee, and I'll have a nice little chit-chat. Afterwards, as I walk around the house with my clipboard taking notes, the homeowner is going to want to show me all the little things they've done to the house that they perceive have increased the value of the house, but you and I know haven't done anything to the value of the house. Most appraisers will dismiss that and say, well, it doesn't really have an effect to the house. I am going to take notes. Every single thing they show me, I will make a note of on my sheet of paper, and I will put in the appraisal. Whether it has a bearing on the value or not doesn't matter. I'll simply put it in an addendum to the appraisal. But it's important to me, and I believe to you as a mortgage originator, to make sure that the homeowner feels heard, so that they feel valued. They're paying $300 and I don't want to be in and out of the house in 5 minutes and them feeling like it was a ripoff. So I'm going to listen and notarize everything that they say. And on my way out the door, I'm going to put my shoes back on. I'm going to make sure that I make a point to turn around and turn to the homeowner. I'm going to make sure that they understand how lucky they are that you're taking care of their financing, because you're the best loan officer I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot. And then I'm going to leave the house. Now I want you to think to yourself right now, do you want me as your appraiser? For every single deal? Wait a second, I haven't told you what I charge yet. Think about that. You've decided that you want me to be your appraiser and I haven't told you what I charge yet. So as a mortgage originator, how are you quoting rates right out of the gate and thinking that's a unique selling proposition? That's a commodity. Level 4 of the pyramid, guys, if you embrace it, if you bask in it, if you create a system that you stick to every single time, your business can go to a whole new level. Your confidence can go to a whole new level. Your trust can go to a whole new level. So what happened? Had to create this system. 4 years ago, we were trying to implement action marketing at the time and imploding, yelling, screaming, people thinking about quitting. I was thinking about quitting. I mean, I was thinking about changing careers. The stress was just completely out of control. Had to create a system. So I'll remember this day for the rest of my life. My business partner, Ronnie, was on Loan Toolbox on a Thursday night. Came in on a Friday morning, and for those of you that don't know him, he is like the nicest guy you're ever going to meet. All the time. I watch him and I get exhausted at how nice he is. Truly. So he came in on the Friday morning and he called everybody for an emergency staff meeting into the staff room, which he'd never done before. So we're all a little freaked out. And he says, guys, I'm shutting the company down for the day. It's Friday, we're shutting it down. I saw something on Loan Toolbox and we're going to implement it right now immediately. And we're stunned and shocked and we don't know what to do, so we all agreed and said, okay, what are we doing? So what he found on Loan Toolbox was something called the perfect loan process. It was a checklist. It's just a checklist. It's funny because I tell people who aren't in the mortgage industry that we have a checklist, and they go, yeah, so? And then I tell people who are in the mortgage industry that we have a checklist. They're like, wow, you have a checklist? How fascinating is, how behind are we? Think about that. Like a checklist is cutting edge to us. A checklist. I was chatting with the guys backstage before coming up. It's like, you're kidding, right? I said, no, I'm going to show them a checklist. Really? Yeah. It's a checklist. Perfect loan process. So here's what we did. We sat around and we took every single step in a mortgage process. Order an appraisal is a step. Order a title commitment is a step. Order insurance binder is a step. Talk to the client is a step. These are all steps. Order the fruit basket is a step. We wrote every single step on a separate sheet of paper. One step, one sheet of paper. Then we lined the sheets of paper down the hall. And we put them in sequence. What should come after the other? I know this is cutting edge stuff, guys. Cutting edge. The technology that we bring to bear is just staggering, isn't it? Sheets of paper on the floor. That's what we did. That was the start. 4 years ago, we shut the company down. This took us all day. What an amazing team building exercise. Do you think I had buy-in from the whole team? The whole team bought in. The whole team is passionate about it. They want it every day, every loan. Because they were a part of the process. Don't underestimate the power of that. So the end result is the perfect loan process has become our passion loan process. It's a very detailed checklist. If you look at it, there's a spot to write the date on the left-hand side, and then immediately after that it says LO or LC. It'll also say PR sometimes. So what does loan officer stand for? Loan officer. Loan LC, loan coordinator, PR, processor. Wow, this is really complex, isn't it? It's a written job description in sequence. It's an assembly line for every single loan. Every single loan, every single time. Not negotiable. Follow this on my team, or don't work here. Every single loan, every single time. Because when I go out and I make a promise to a financial planner or a real estate agent, that's my promise, that's my word. I'm dependent on my team. I'm the promise maker, they need to be the promise keeper. And this is a part of that. So that it goes all the way to closing, funding, post-closing, everything. So our title companies, everybody has a copy of this, so they have a clear understanding of what our sequence is, what our expectations are. We have meetings with our title company closers to make sure they have an understanding of what's going to happen in what sequence, and they better follow the same sequence, or we're not going to use them anymore. So what kicked in when you see that checklist? Who else has it? Come on. We're mortgage originators. We all have it. A little bit. Think about it. How many times have you been accused by your spouse, your coworkers, somebody close to you is, you know what, you've got ADD. You've got no attention span. You've got, right? So when you see a checklist like that, what kicks in? Ugh. A checklist? That's something for my processor, not for me. I need to have the freedom to be creative. Isn't that our natural tendency? So let's talk about this, ADD versus ADI. You guys don't know what ADI is yet. So ADD, attention deficit disorder. Disorder. Okay, so the person who labeled this, did they have it or didn't have it? Didn't have it, right? So they're telling us we have a disorder because they don't have it. See, I look at it and say, I can focus on 50 things at any one time. I get a lot done. How's it a disorder for me to be efficient? I get a lot done. I feel bad for people who can only focus on one thing at a time. I feel bad for them. You know, I'm right now in front of you talking. I'm also thinking about my pipeline. I'm thinking about what I'm going to have for lunch. All at the same time. I'm quite comfortable with it. I'm imagining most of you are the same way. You're on the phone with a client, talking about the loan application. You're thinking about the file before, the file after, how you're going to yell at your processor about the other file, and all while you're talking to the client on the phone at the same time. It's great. So instead of calling it a disorder, what if we changed our association to it? What if we embraced it? What if we reveled in it and called it attention deficit intelligence? Huh? There's a responsibility that comes with that, though. Is that you need to surround yourself with people who don't have it. And then you need to honor and cherish them. Not yell and scream at them. Okay, they have attention to detail where we do not. You need to position them with structure, order, and predictability. Things that we hate. We want to problem solve. We love the adrenaline rush of fixing something that nobody else could fix. Finding that loan program nobody else could find. That's, you know, jumping up and cheering, woohoo! That's where we get our adrenaline from. Is that where they get their adrenaline from? No. Structure, order, predictability. They need it. They crave it. They have to have it. It's our responsibility to allow them to be in that and hold it accountable. And if we can embrace that, our confidence level goes way up in what might happen to our income. Wow. You can stop micromanaging your files. You can fall in love with your clients, and you know what? You can fall in love with your team. Because everybody knows what's supposed to be happening. And you have a system to holding them accountable, and they have a system to hold you accountable. And you have to allow them to hold you accountable because we're not perfect either. We make mistakes. And if they're calling you out on the mat, then you got to take it. I have to take it. It's uncomfortable. I don't like being wrong. I typically get uncomfortable about once a day from my team, but it's all good. I've learned to just allow it to happen, allow it to take place. So let's talk about system, what that checklist allows for me to do. The fruit basket. Greg talked about the fruit basket. You know, and when I wasn't out here, so I didn't see how many hands went up, but I'm willing to bet statistically not many hands went up as to how many people are actually sending out the fruit basket. He's been talking about it for 15, 20 years. When I first saw him talking about the fruit basket, you know, I was like, wow, that's a great idea. I should do that. And then we looked for a wholesale supplier of fruit, couldn't find one, so we gave up. Because, you know, Albuquerque's a different market. They have wholesale fruit distributors there. We don't in Minnesota. So, it doesn't work in my market. It works in Greg's market, doesn't work in my market. Yeah, okay, that's just, it's silliness, right? So, finally, we found a grocery store 2 blocks away from our office. Had a meeting with the produce manager. They got a fax machine in their back room. We fax our orders in, they prepare the fruit baskets, and they come over. But how do I know that a fruit basket is going to go out on every single loan every single time? Every single loan, every single time. Because it's on the checklist. It's on the checklist. Upon loan approval, it's in sequence. There's a line item that says, loan is approved. Next line item is, send fruit basket. Then my computer gets programmed to make the follow-up phone call. There's a sequence that has to come with this. You contact your fruit vendor, you set it all up, but folks, if you do not follow it up with a phone call asking for business, you are a fruit distributor, not a loan officer. Don't do that. The point of the fruit basket is to get the referral. So if a real estate agent drives you a client and you send the fruit basket and you get a referral from that fruit basket and you're able to take that referral back and give it back to the real estate agent who referred you the original client, what just happened to that relationship with the real estate agent? How are you not, folks, seriously, how are you not sending the fruit basket? How are you not? Find a grocery store within a half-mile radius of you. Walk in, introduce yourself to the produce manager, find out their fax number, create a form, which you don't even need to create, it's on Loan Toolbox. The script as to who to call is on Loan Toolbox. You know, you just have to do it. You have to make sure that it's implemented every single time. Because if it's not implemented every single time, you don't get the same buy-in. You don't talk about it with your real estate agents and your financial planners and your clients in the same way, because it might happen and it might not. Your confidence level has to be really high, which means it has to happen every single time. System number 2. Where did I get this from? Greg Frost. Yeah. Action marketing. And he talks about the biggest compliment you can ever pay Greg is to simply steal his ideas and implement them. Right? So how do you think he feels about me? He loves me. All I do is steal from him. It's a great relationship. It's a great relationship for me. He gets the adrenaline because I'm actually implementing what he teaches. That's his take. So calling the seller upon receiving the purchase agreement, how are you not? Purchase agreement comes over your fax machine. You've got the seller's name and their address. All you have to do is look up their phone number and call them. How are you not making that phone call on every single loan, every single time? And the number one excuse I hear from people, and let's be clear, it's an excuse, is I'm busy. I'm busy. I'm too busy. I got all these fires I got to deal with. Why do you have fires? Because there's no system. Okay? I'm too busy to create a system because I got all these fires. Definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. Number 3, weekly fax realtor loan status reports. So this is a great story. So Ronnie and I come back and we're asking our support staff, our processors and our ops manager to send out the handwritten weekly status reports that Greg shows. So what do you think their response was? Hey guys, we need you to do more work. We're not going to pay you more, but we need you to do more work. Did we get team buy-in on that one? No, not even close. So, and Ronnie and I are looking at each other going, I don't get it. This is going to help us get more loans. Why don't they see that? Because what support staff need is structure, order, predictability. That's it. That's what they need. Stick within that. Say, okay, hold on, let's define this within structure, order, predictability. What we're asking you to do is do a form so that it goes out to the realtors once a week so that we don't get inbounds with fire, so that we can go out and get more loans because our confidence level will be high. Therefore, more loans will come in. Your compensation is based on a per loan file. Therefore, you will earn more money. Oh. Sorry, we thought you were just being lazy and asking us to do your job for you. Okay, no, thank you for the clarification. It's not what we're asking for. So now, if you have somebody who is amazingly gifted with attention to detail, and you give them the freedom to live within that, what might happen? So our operations manager, Kristen, who's here, by the way, and I'm going to embarrass her in just a second. I don't know if she's in the room or not, but so Kristen is looking at this handwritten weekly status report, and she's just not liking it at all. It's inefficient, it's time consuming, it's just not working for her. So what she did is she programmed, focus on this, those of us that have the ADD, this is just shocking. She programmed Point, Calyx Point, to automate it. See, it's typed. It extracts the data into a document that we can fax automatically. She came to us, it was like, took her about 2 weeks. She came to us 2 weeks later and said, hey, is this good? And I looked at it, I said, I don't understand. It's like, well, I've automated it. You did what? What do you mean you automated it? See, I didn't even know to wish for it. How cool is it when you're with a team where you don't even know to wish for stuff and they just make stuff? She automated it. So you can download it, it's easy to install, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. It's merge fields, where it pulls the data from Point into a Word document. Can you see how that works? And guess what she did? And just because I asked her to, she created an instruction manual on how to recreate this. The instruction manual, that's Kristen. So that instruction manual, just so you know, it has to be simple, otherwise we aren't going to do it. The instruction manual is 6 pages. That's it. 6 pages. It's that easy. I look at it and I say, wow, that must be really difficult. No, it's not. It's actually quite simple. 6-page instruction manual. You guys can recreate the exact same thing. Now, that weekly status report takes us, every file in processing, takes us 10 minutes, once a week. Every single realtor, selling agent, buyer's agent, selling agent, listing agent, get that fax every Thursday afternoon from us. Takes us 20 minutes. How cool is that? And that's how you can speed up the process. When you talk about, I can only close 3 loans a month because I'm micromanaging my fires instead of accessing the amazing talent that's on my team. And that's level 4 of the pyramid. So one of the things that you can learn from us is that don't try and move an iceberg. Don't try and, this 4 days is information overload. It's like, oh my goodness, where do I start? Where do I start? It's all good stuff. How do I implement everything? Pick one. Just pick one. And pick the one that grabbed you the most and implement it. And when you're done implementing it, then go back to your book and pick 2. Implement it. And when you're good at it, go back to your book and pick 3. Implement it, one at a time. Tomorrow, you're going to be given an amazing gift if you haven't been given it already, and that's a business plan. You're going to walk out of here with a written business plan, sequenced business plan. Follow it in sequence. And I'm hoping level 4 of the pyramid will make some of your lists. I know level 3 is the one that everybody gets excited about, and as you should get excited. Lead generation is the mother of all for what we do. At the same time, the stress of not embracing level 4 is pretty great. What is my confidence? So think about this. If you're in my market, if you're in Minneapolis, could you take one of my realtors from me? What do you think? Yeah, odds are good not. Odds are good not. My realtors, their business is integrated into mine. The pain of change is great for my realtors because I reciprocate and I follow a system. They know what to expect every single time, every single time, every single time. They don't know what to expect from you if you're in my market. So can you recreate this in your market? And if you did, what would be your confidence level in talking to your strategic partners? What would be your confidence level in talking to your team? What would be your confidence level going home to your families? Wow. You mean you could go for dinner with your wife or your husband, with your spouse, and not have your crackberry on? what would that do to your life? It's a pretty big domino effect. Pretty big domino effect. So that was me 4 years ago. Is this your 3rd year in the business, or your 5th year in the business, or your 10th year in the business? You know, I've had some people come up to me over the last couple of days and say, wow, I've been in the business 25 years. I didn't know that some of this stuff was possible. You know, you could be in your 25th year in the business or your 1st year for the 25th time. I see some of you looking at those yellow sticky notes going, yeah, that's what my desk looks like. By the way, on a side note, sticky notes, not so much. Not so much. Sticky notes get lost, try not to. Have everything on the checklist. Keep one sheet of paper, one checklist. So, the easy way or the hard way. So there's even an easier way. An easier way for all of us. So I met a company, and they're here today, called PushMX. They got a booth next door. Can you imagine having that checklist where it's not even a checklist anymore? What if it was in your computer and you just had to click it? How cool would that be? Can you imagine processing your loans throughout the process, that whole checklist, just clicking, and the computer just doing it? Can you imagine that sequence? How many more loans could you close? So I found them about 3 months ago, and we switched over, and they're handling our processing stuff. And Kristen, her name, I'm hoping she's in the room so that she gets embarrassed and turns red. Is she in the room? Oh, Kristen, can you just stand up for a quick second? There's Kristen. It's okay. Thank you, Kristen. So Kristen is actually going to hang out at the PushMX booth as well, so you guys can ask her questions about the automation. And PushMX is graciously one of our platinum sponsors here, and they're automating this, guys. It's amazing. I mean, forget the sheet that goes in the file. That's what we've been doing, and people think that's cutting edge. The sheet is becoming obsolete, where it's just in the computer. So I highly encourage you guys, if you get a chance, to go check them out.